Hey there guys, welcome to my Let's Review. First things first, we're going to do the gameplay, then we're going to do the plot. We're reviewing Resident Evil 3, Nemesis. So, let's get started. A new feature to gameplay is the Nemesis, an experimental type of tyrant, an upgrade to the previous game's T-103. Programmed by Umbrella to hunt down and kill the remaining STARS members. He can run, use a rocket launcher as a weapon, dodge incoming fire, and is capable of pursuing the player from one area to the next. Nemesis is encountered multiple times throughout the game as a recurring boss. A variety of encounters are possible, with some being mandatory and some varying in nature and location based on choices made by the player. Even if defeated in combat, Nemesis will inevitably continue pursuit of Jill. In a departure from series conventions, the player cannot choose between two playable characters from the beginning. Instead, Jill is the sole selectable character, with another character named Carlos also being controllable for a brief portion of the game. Resident Evil 3 incorporates a dodge move that allows the player to quickly avoid enemy attacks. Stair climbing is also streamlined, whereas in previous Resident Evil titles, characters were required to press the action button to descend or ascend a staircase. Resident Evil 3 allows the player to use the staircase by walking directly onto it. The quick 180-degree turn was introduced in this game and has been a mainstay of the series. The game also features an ammunition creation system, in which new ammunition can be created from various varieties of gunpowder, and the use of a different video just finished. Where was it? And the use of a cartridge reloading tool, or by combining gunpowder directly with standard grenade rounds to generate different types of rounds for the grenade launcher. For the first time in the series, explosive objects are now present in certain areas, taking the form of oil drums on the ground or bundles of an unspecified explosive material affixed to a wall. Firing on these objects causes them to explode, damaging or destroying nearby enemies. The game also incorporates a randomization feature that varies the placement of items and enemies. Puzzles are either completely randomized, or have their solutions selected from a predetermined list. At certain points in the game, the player will enter live selection mode, in which they are prompted to choose one of two possible actions. The choice of action affects the direction of the game and story, including which ending the player receives. Each selection has a time limit, with the consequence for going over the time limit either being Jill taking damage or instant death. There is an unlockable minigame named the Mercenaries Operation Mad Jackal. The player can choose from Carlos, Mikhail, and the three UBCS members that appear in the main game. Each character possesses a different inventory, causing drastically different strategies for survival with each other. The objective of the game is to ostensibly run from cable car to the warehouse office, two locations in the main game, within a limited amount of time. However, the starting time limit is insufficient to actually perform this task directly, and the player must continuously receive time bonuses by performing certain actions in order to complete the mission. Eliminating enemies yields a time bonus, with increasing bonuses for multiple kills in a short time span. Okay guys, that's the gameplay covered. Now for the spoilers. If you don't want to play this game already, well, then I wouldn't stay for the spoilers if you don't. But if you just don't care, then stay. The game begins on September 28th, 1988, a couple of weeks after I was born, with a cutscene and brief gameplay set in the previous two nights. The player takes control of former Special Tactics and Rescue Service STARS member Jill Valentine in her attempt to escape a ruined and zombie-infested Raccoon City. On her way to Raccoon City Police Department, she runs into fellow team member Brad Vickers, who is killed by the Nemesis, a bioorganic weapon, for being part of the STARS, as the STARS members are aware of Umbrella's unethical research. The company wants to eliminate them as witnesses, stopping the survivors from continuing their investigation of the company. Later, she encounters three surviving members of the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, the UBCS: Carlos Oliveira, Mikhail Victor, and Nikolai Gianov. Nikolai is soon presumed dead after an encounter with zombies. Mikhail sacrifices himself to save Jill and Carlos from the Nemesis. The cable car that the three were in bursts into flames, and Jill and Carlos are separated. Jill and Carlos meet up later in a clock tower where Carlos has said a rescue helicopter will arrive. Jill summons the helicopter by ringing the clock tower's bell. Nemesis destroys the helicopter and infects Jill with the T-virus. Jill temporarily defeats Nemesis. Carlos finds her in a state of weakness and she blacks out. During this period, Carlos searches for the vaccine to Jill's infection, and the game returns in the early hours of October 1st. Carlos goes to Raccoon General Hospital to make the vaccine and is able to create it. As he's leaving, he goes back to the clock tower. Nikolai sets a time bomb at the base and blows up the hospital. Carlos returns to Jill with a vaccine and leaves. Jill then proceeds through Raccoon Park, where she eventually enters a cabin, finds more about the plans for Raccoon City, and briefly meets up with Nikolai, who explains the role he played. Leaving Jill. Sometimes, when I write, I find it hard to read what I've said. Leaving, Jill enters the cemetery again and face off with a giant worm and defeat it before proceeding. Jill meets up with Carlos in an Umbrella facility, who tells her that the US government planned a cover-up, and the US military, after hearing of the unsuccessful efforts to avert the T-virus infestation, ordered the destruction of Raccoon City by nuclear missile. Jill and Carlos split up again to find a way out of the facility. Jill turns on the power so an exit can be unlocked. While attempting to escape, she meets up with Nikolai. He tells her how he killed the other monitors and how there is a bounty on Jill's head. She also has to face a mutated Nemesis and kill it with the assistance of a railgun. Jill then escapes Raccoon City alongside Carlos. Depending on the player's choices, a different ending plays. The city's destruction by missile is shown. So guys, that is the original trilogy of Resident Evil done. Now, just a side note, there are 6 Resident Evil games in the main series, but I class them as 2 separate trilogies, because 4 onwards are completely and utterly different from Resident Evil 1 through 3. 4 being great, 5 being okay. So, that's it guys. If you enjoyed this review, thanks for watching, see you all later.